Hey guys, so I had this idea of trying to make paper out of dried roses, and if you would like to see how that went, then please continue watching. So I've had these flowers drying out for, I want to say about a year and a half, and I have a couple more down over here. Anyways, I've been trying to find a project to do with them, and I think I finally found the one I want to try. Basically, paper. So all you use whatever parts you have. Some people use fresh flowers. I'm going to use dried flowers because it's easy. You can hear how dry they actually are. So yeah, I'm going to be taking all of these and putting them in a bowl and crushing them up and then soaking them in water so that way they absorb easy. But I'll show you guys that closer up in a minute, just showing you guys what kind of flowers I'm going to be using. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm just pulling the rose petals off and setting them in this bowl. And then I'm going to continue to do that with all of the flowers. That way I can do it all at once. I don't know if you guys wanted to see, but this is a bit closer up on the flowers. Right before I have to pick them off. And you can see I took them down from right there. And I took those down. I've still got these other ones to go. But yeah, just a final close up. These are a year and a half old. Okay, so I've got the fan on because it's kind of warm, so sorry if you can hear that in the background. Basically, all I'm going to do is crunch these up like this. And it smells really good when you do this too. You just basically get to play around in it. And I have a towel underneath for anything that falls off. And you just want to crunch everything into the smallest bits possible. You want it, just really, really small. It's better to do it with two hands, but obviously I need to be able to record. So yeah, once you get it into just little tiny pieces, then you're pretty much good to go. Okay, so this kind of looks like leaves in fall, but basically that's kind of the texture you want. If you can get it even finer, then you'll be better. But right up here especially, you can see how it's kind of like just little tiny pieces. And all I've been doing is taking my hands, going like this over and over. I still have quite a bit more roses and stuff, but right now all I'm doing is trying to crunch this up that way that I can get to the next steps. I'm going to try to put some more roses in here and just repeat the process until all of my flowers are done. Okay, so I had to transfer everything to a much bigger bowl, but this is what I have, and I'm just going to be pouring water in it. And you're going to need like a lot more than that, obviously. You can see it just slowly kind of rising. That looked cool. Anyways, I'm going to continue to do that and just basically fill it up with water, and you want to just do the same thing that you did with your hands, except do it while it's wet this time and make like kind of a paste. The more fine you can get these little pieces, the better. Okay, so I filled it up with quite a bit of water. All I'm going to be doing is making it into like this kind of sludge. I want to be careful not to spill it all over the bowl or all over the edge of the bowl. I could probably use more water, honestly. You can kind of see how that's going to eventually form into a paste. It's kind of what it looks like. So basically, this is the solution that I have soaking. I'm going to let this sit overnight, probably like 7-8 hours, and then I will come back to you guys in the morning. Basically, I think what soaking it is supposed to do is supposed to soften up the fibers and make it a lot easier to make into an actual paper. Right now, these granules are still a little bit too big. It won't make the best paper, but that's why I'm soaking it. So that way, when I go to mash it up some more, it'll be a lot easier, hopefully. So anyways, I will come back to you guys in the morning. Okay, so I've had this solution soaking overnight, and as you can see, it's kind of what it looks like. I'm going to go throw this into a blender and get all these pieces just to be as fine as possible, because that's about as much as I can break it up with my hands. But yeah, I'm just going to make it into like a really, really fine kind of chunky paste. I don't know exactly what to call it. I'll show you guys when I come back with it. So after I blend everything together, I'm left with this kind of texture. As you can see, there's a few different methods you can go from here. One is the water method where you use an actual frame and dip it. I'm going to try something different, but I'll show you guys exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, so I've got the solution here, and the neighbor's dogs are out, so they're kind of loud. Basically, I've got a little dog here. I'm going to take some of this and then very, very thinly spread it and like press it until it makes a sheet. And I'm just going to go do this off camera because I don't want those dogs to annoy you. Okay, so I've got this mix, but I feel like it's not quite fine enough. So what I'm going to do is take some old paper, scrap paper, basically. You just want recycled materials. And then I'm going to add this to this as well. And hopefully that'll also make it a lighter color. I just feel like this isn't fine enough to be able to make it yet. Okay, so this is the recycled paper that I have. This one's already pre-recycled, but I'm going to recycle it again. Basically, you want the same amount as you had of the flowers. So I'm just going to soak this and let it sit for about 30 minutes and then grind it up the same way I did the flowers. Just that way I have a more fibrous material and it grabs onto everything a little bit better. So I'm going to end up adding a lot more water to this, but this is the recycled paper mix. This is half of it, and I'm going to take half of my flour mixture with this as well, mix it all together, and then put it back on that kind of sheet thing over there I just showed you guys earlier. Anyways, because I have more than enough, so I'm going to try to make a few different layers. So I'm going to take half of this, half the flour mixture, and add a ton more water, just showing you guys what it looks like after I blended it. Once I have the two mixtures together, it looks something like this, and now I just have to add a lot more water and mix it all together. Once I mix everything with water, I'm left with something like this, and I'm gonna go pour it on that sheet. Neighbor's dog keeps barking, but basically this is what I have. Hopefully you guys can see. And I've just pressed it flat with my hands, and I still have all this area to fill up, but I still have half a thing more, and this paper is gonna be kind of thick, but this is my first time doing this, so we'll see how it comes out. So, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is some of the finished paper. I've got to say, it's some of the ugliest paper I've ever seen. So, maybe I did something completely wrong, which I'm sure I probably did. Yeah, this is not very cute. It's interesting, like, I'm glad to see kind of how it turned out, but it didn't really turn out. But, I think it's still interesting to see, like, you know, just like what's going on. Yeah, it's just not very pretty. I feel like maybe if I used a whiter background kind of material instead of like a cardboard material, maybe it would look a little better. But nonetheless, this is how it came out. The other parts are still drying. It took a couple days for these to dry so far. Yeah, just, you know, this is the first time I've ever tried to make paper, and it's probably not my thing. But I think it's still very interesting just to see everything. You can see all the little bits of flour and stuff. It's just not the prettiest thing. So, I mean, maybe there's someone out there who can make this look really nice, or maybe I can try again in the future to try to do, you know, something similar, but hopefully yield much better results. But nonetheless, yeah, this is how it came out. So, yeah, didn't really come out very well.